Clearing the Bases, live from Rockland. I'm Anthony Sosa, and with me, as always, is Will Felton. And let's jump right into it with what's new. And we had our first no-hitter this season, Chris Heston of the San Francisco Giants throwing it against the New York Mets Tuesday, June 9th. Well, what did you think of his performance?
I think he dominated that Mets lineup with his sinker baller, and he struck out 11 with 3 hit-by pitches, which is the first time that's ever happened in a no-hitter.
Yep.
And I think it was a great performance by Chris Heston, who's actually a rookie, which is pretty interesting. And he just dominated, and he got the no-hitter.
I agree. Great job by Heston. And what a time to be a Giants fan right now. I mean, 3 World Series in 5 years, 5 no-hitters in the past 6 years, 4 in the past 3 years. They're just dominating all of baseball right now. But who do you think's going to throw the next no-hitter? Let's just make predictions here.
Yeah, I think A.J. Burnett has a pretty good shot. He's having a great year, comeback year for the Pirates, and he just threw a complete game against the Phillies. I think he has a good shot at throwing the no-hitter he's been on this year, and we'll see if he can do it.
Interesting. Good pick there, but I'm going to go with a different Pirate, a lefty, Francisco Liriano, and he's been pitching pretty good this year. He's had a couple rocky starts, but for the most part, he's done good. I think that with that slider, he can throw a lot of hitters off, and if it's a weak hitting team, he's got a good shot. So we'll have to wait and see, but good shot maybe for the Pirates. So moving on, we're going to talk about a team in the American League East, the Toronto Blue Jays. They've been hot of late, winning 10 of their last 12, and they have lost 2 in a row, but for the most part, they've been solid. Will, what do you think about the Blue Jays right now?
I think Donaldson and Russell Martin, the catcher, has been carrying the team lately, and they've been struggling with their starting pitchers over the year. But what's interesting is we've seen the Blue Jays go on these types of runs in the past, especially early in the season, but it's usually carried by Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion. But this year, they really haven't been the two guys who've been carrying the team. It's really been Donaldson and Martin, along with Kevin Pillar in the outfield, making some great catches. And so it'll be interesting to see if they can keep it up over the course of the year and maybe climb up in that AL East standings.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not too impressed with it. I mean, you take 3 from the Marlins, you take 3 from the Red Sox, both teams that are really struggling. I mean, good for them. They won 10 games, but I don't see this team really doing that well in the AL East, mostly because of their pitching. Their pitching is not that impressive. You got Mark Burley and R.A. Dickey leading the staff, Drew Hutchinson. I mean, the big deal is they lost Marcus Stroman to Tommy John surgery. This pitching staff isn't going to hold him for that much longer. I think the Rays or the Yankees have a better shot, but we'll find out. So, and also in recent news, the Cardinals just are under investigation for allegedly hacking into the Houston Astros database. Will, do you think this is a big deal? FBI investigation?
For now, I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's pretty easy to guarantee there probably won't be a trade between the Cardinals and Astros now after this. But I don't think it's a big deal. We haven't heard much about it, but we'll see if it comes to something bigger in the future.
I agree. We don't know enough about it, and I don't think anything too big is going to happen from this. But moving on, we're going to make some early award predictions. So we're going to start with the AL MVP, and honestly, I don't see how you can't give it to Miguel Cabrera. It would be the 3rd time he wins it out of 4 years. I mean, that's pretty incredible. But I mean, 345 average right now, 14 home runs, 48 RBIs. You can't go against that. I mean, he's the heart and the soul of the Detroit Tigers. But who do you got, Will?
And I have John Donaldson. If the Blue Jays can keep it up like they're doing right now, I think he will be the most valuable player to that team. He's batting .309 with 17 home runs, playing in Toronto, Big Hitters Park. I think he can keep up the numbers, and if the Blue Jays can as well, I think he could definitely be in the race for most valuable player.
It's a good call. I mean, Donaldson did great out in Oakland, which is not a hitter's park at all, and now he's just killing it in Toronto. But another guy that we can't sleep on, he's been struggling of late, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets hot anytime soon, is Nelson Cruz. I mean, he's batting .311, 18 home runs, 41 RBIs, and he hasn't done anything of late. So, I mean, he turns it on again. There's a good shot. He ends up with 40 home runs. I mean, what do you think, Will?
He has the definitely numbers of a guy's having a great season, and he's been struggling of late. He was hitting .330 just a couple weeks ago. He could turn it on just with the Mariners as a team. They could turn it on, and he's definitely the most valuable player to that team, and we'll see him at the end of the year in the contention for the MVP award.
Definitely, and I mean, if the Mariners don't start getting relevant, I mean, Cruz might stay irrelevant. So, moving on, we're going to talk about the NL MVP, and I'm going to go with a guy that's really hot right now in Giancarlo Stanton. He's got 24 home runs now. He's just killing the ball. And he's only batting .265, but that average has increased quite a bit in the past couple of weeks. So I see it continuing to climb up, and I think he might take the MVP.
Well, I think I'm going to take a younger guy with Bryce Harper. He's batting .337 with 21 home runs and 51 RBIs. There's some great numbers for the Nationals. And I think they can keep it up because they have the pitching staff, they have the lineup, and I think Bryce Harper is been in the headlines recently, and I think he can keep it up. He's gonna have a great year, and I think he has a very good chance of being the MVP.
Good point. But a guy we're really sleeping on is Paul Goldschmidt. I mean, he's batting 366, has 18 home runs. He's 53 RBIs. The reason why we don't hear about him is because he's on the Diamondbacks, who have been irrelevant for a couple of years. He's actually probably maybe the most deserving candidate if the season ended right now. Wouldn't you agree?
I definitely agree with that. I think he's the best hitter in the National League. I think you can say that. And you can look for him to win some awards like Louisville Slugger or something. But the problem with him winning the MVP is that, like you mentioned, he's on the Diamondbacks and they're not a great team. And usually an MVP award winner comes from a team that makes the playoffs because to be the most valuable, you got to lead your team to the playoffs. But he's the best hitter in the National League, I would say. And he'll be in the race, but I don't think he'll win the MVP.
Okay, interesting. So now we're going to move on to the American League Cy Young. And who I see it right now is Sonny Gray. I mean, 1.60 ERA, best in baseball. So, I mean, ERA is a big thing we look out for Cy Young. I mean, we saw Felix Hernandez win it a couple years ago. He didn't have that great of a record, but he still won with a good ERA. Sonny Gray's 8-3, 88 Ks. Who do you think you got, Will?
And I think Sonny Gray is a good pick, but he doesn't have the run support or the defense. So I'm going to go with Dallas Keuchel. He's 8-2 with a 2.04 ERA and a .95 WHIP, which is pretty impressive. And he's got a great defense behind him and great run support with the Astros. They're also in first place, which helps him out a good amount. And Dallas Keuchel, I mean, the lefty, he just dominates lineups, righties and lefties, whoever he faces. It's hard to hit him.
Yeah. And another guy we could also mention is Chris Archer down in Tampa. He's having a pretty good year. I mean, just a 2 ERA. He's got 118 strikeouts, the most strikeouts in baseball right now, tied with Scherzer. But, I mean, he's on a team that's really overachieved this year. So, I mean, he's part of the reason. So, you think Chris Archer maybe?
I think he could, but, I mean, if he keeps the strikeouts up, I definitely think he can. I mean, the last few starts, he's been striking out like 11 guys per start. I mean, he's been just on fire. And so, if he can keep it up, I think he is definitely a contender. But the question is, can he keep it up?
Right. And lastly, the National League Cy Young. It's really between two guys, I would say, right now, Max Scherzer and Garrett Cole. Scherzer, I think, takes it. I mean, 1.93 ERA. He's 7-5. Don't let the record fool you. The Nats have not given him much run support at all. 113 Ks. I mean, I think it's right now Scherzer. What do you think, Will?
And I'm going to go with Garrett Cole, 10-2 with a 1.71 ERA. And Garrett Cole's kind of a sneaky pick because not a lot of people know about him. Over there in Pittsburgh, kind of a quiet guy, not like a big headline guy, doesn't make a lot of noise, but he just does his business, does his job, and he dominates. 1.71 ERA says a lot, and I think he can keep that up. 10-2 already, he's on pace for 20 wins. That'll be a great year, and 20 wins will definitely get him the Cy Young Award.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you can't count out most of these Mets pitchers right now. I mean, DeGrom, Harvey, Colon, they're all in the running right now. They pitch great. But it'll be interesting to see who does win these awards. I mean, it's very early in the season, but it's always fun just to kind of make these predictions. So, good episode here, the third one of Clearing the Bases. We'd like to thank you for watching, and remember to follow us on Twitter @ASOS27 and @WillFelton6. Thank you for watching.